Hello and welcome to another episode of Dear Me podcast brought to you by About the Voice. My name is Omomi and I am excited to be here again today. The conversations that we've been having right here on Dear Me podcast have been refreshing, and I just want to take a little time today to give a shout out to all of my listeners. In case you've been listening, you've been following Dear Me podcast, here is me saying thank you, and here is me believing that every episode you have come across or you have given time listening to has blessed you in no small way. Today I will be talking about something really important, something that is peculiar to every single person. I feel like no matter how great and no matter how mighty you are, you would have felt this at one point or the other. This shows how much of humans we are. We are humans with blood flowing through our veins. And so this actually shows how frail we can be from time to time, which is actually okay. I'll be talking today about what is called the Imposter Syndrome. The Imposter Syndrome. And I'm just going to be taking the conversation easy because I really want you to, of course, listen and actually take the whole information in. I'm going to be talking about what exactly Imposter Syndrome is. I'm going to be sharing with you signs that you probably have imposter syndrome or you've experienced it, or you might be experiencing what is called imposter syndrome. And then I'm going to be sharing with you ways to actually deal with it, because of course, what is the essence of talking about a problem if you are not going to prefer a solution? So I'm going to be talking about all of this. And so now getting into the conversation, you know that feeling when something good actually does happen to you, like something good. It might be that you got a job, maybe you got admission into the university. It might be that maybe you won a competition or something, and instead of you actually celebrating, you were kind of low-key, you were kind of panicking. Like you are panicking instead of actually celebrating that win or that achievement. Then something inside of you starts to kind of like whisper and says, do I actually deserve this thing? What if they find out that I am not as good as they think? You just have so many of these feelings. So instead of you actually feeling worthy, instead of you feeling thankful, you start to panic, you start to doubt, you start to be afraid. You start so many reasons why you are not meant to have that opportunity starts to ring through your mind. If you have ever had that feeling, or if you're having that feeling, that is what we call, or that is what is called the imposter syndrome. And today I'm going to be talking about it, and I'm hoping that you get to learn more about it and actually learn how to actually deal with it. Now, let me paint another picture for you so that you would understand what I'm saying very well. So let's say, for instance, you've worked hard. You actually did work hard. It was not as a result of connections and all of that, because I have heard a lot of times, for instance, some of us who are from privileged homes or from influential homes and all of that, people find it hard to believe that you are achieving the success that you're achieving by your hard work. People think that you are where you are because of the influence of your parents and all of that. Of course, we cannot rule that fact out. But then that doesn't mean that we should also rule the fact that people actually, regardless of the privileges that they have around them, actually have to work for them to actually harness those privileges. Anyway, so let's say, for instance, you've worked hard, you've achieved something, and people are actually recognizing you for that achievement. But instead of you feel like they see you're fake, or like you're a fraud, or you got there by mistake, or you got there by luck. And it's not because these feelings that you're feeling are actually real. I mean the feelings that says that make you feel like as if you are a fraud. Your mind just kind of refuses to accept that you are actually capable of getting that thing, or being that thing, or achieving that thing. That is literally again what is called the imposter syndrome. And sometimes in your mind, you might be feeling like as if, oh, one day I'm going to be exposed. People would know who I truly am. People would see my weaknesses, blah, blah, blah. And one amazing thing or one crazy thing about this imposter syndrome is that it actually happens to people who are doing well, people who are achieving great things, great heights. Maybe you're a very intelligent person. Maybe in the university setting, you're a very smart person. Maybe in your class, you're actually a smart person. And not necessarily you now, even people that you watch on TV or people that you read on newspaper that look like as if they are doing amazing things. These people actually experience what we call this imposter syndrome. Now, I'm going to talk about signs that you might actually have imposter syndrome. So these are things that you actually want to look out for you to say, I think this is imposter syndrome. I have imposter syndrome. First is if you downplay your success. Yes, if you downplay your success. So let's say, for instance, you've achieved something and the thing that comes to your mind is that, I got it by luck. It was just luck. It's not as if I deserved it or anything. It was just luck. But then this is something that you actually worked hard for. If you are a first class student, or you were probably elected into a position, or you probably were able to get yourself something that you've been wanting to have, or maybe you were given a scholarship and all of that, if you start thinking that it was as a result of luck, or you got there because maybe they did not have enough people, they did not have enough hands, that is imposter syndrome. When you actually know that you actually put in the work. If, for instance, you're doing excellently academically, you know that you really did wake up at night and read for hours and hours for you to be able to get those grades. If you were selected for a scholarship, you know how much applications you wrote, how many things you actually put into making that become a reality. And so if you were someone that finds yourself downplaying your success, saying that it was as a result of luck, or because there were not many people available to take that opportunity, and that is why you were just giving, or it was just handed to you, that is a sign of imposter syndrome. Another thing is that you're just constantly having that fear that one day you're going to be exposed, or one day you're going to be found out, one day somebody is going to question you, and like subconsciously you're already preparing questions, like you're already preparing answers to imaginary questions that you feel like people would ask you, and so you're already preparing your answers to actually defend yourself. That is a sign that you have imposter syndrome and you actually want to watch it. Another thing is that you tend to have an unrealistic standard. You never feel like anything is enough. And even when you're actually doing your best, like when you're actually putting in your best for something or for anything at all, you feel like it is not enough, it is average. For instance, there are some of you who would actually score, let's say for instance, you scored a 90 or a 95 in your schoolwork. Instead of you actually celebrating or praising the hard work that you put into getting that wonderful A, you just spend most of the time sulking at the reason why you were not able to get the remaining 5. Like, why couldn't I just get 100? Why did I get 95? Like, you don't even pause to be grateful that you got that 95. What you're thinking all the time is, why didn't I get that 5%? Blah, 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 blah. That is a sign of imposter syndrome. Another sign is that you tend to overwork to prove yourself. You are someone that never rests, like you find it hard to rest. You feel like resting is a taboo. You feel like if you rest and you don't do the things that you're meant to do, finally it is going to happen. You're going to be exposed. Finally, you're going to fail and everybody will laugh at you. Everybody will know that you're actually not all that they think that you are. Blah, blah, blah. Those are signs of imposter syndrome. And then lastly, you actually struggle to accept compliment from people. Yes, people would say, well done, you look amazing, you look beautiful, you are intelligent, you are this, you are that. and you just find a way to just push it aside. Like immediately you're being appreciated or complimented, you just shrug it off, you brush it off, no sign of thank you, blah blah blah. All you do is just to find a way to dismiss whatever compliment it is you've received or whatever recognition it is that you've received. That is the sign, a big sign of you having an imposter syndrome. Now, there are actually reasons why these things actually happen, and I'm going to be sharing a few reasons with us. One is where you actually grew up in an environment where nothing was enough. There are people, for instance, who grew up in homes where if they got an 80 in school, instead of their parents appreciating them and saying, Junior, you tried, well done for today, their parents would say, the person that got 90, did the person have two heads? All of these things are signs and are reasons why you are actually having this imposter syndrome, growing up in a home where nothing was actually ever enough. And then if you grew up in an environment where you were constantly being compared to others. The children of Mr. So and so, they're doing better than you. Look at your own life. Blah, 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 blah. So if you grew up in an environment where you were being constantly compared, or if you grew up constantly comparing yourself with other people, that is one of the reasons why you could actually have this imposter syndrome. And then another thing is when you get in a place or an environment where you are not as valued as you used to be. Let's say, for instance, you are probably coming from a place where you used to be the star, you used to be the best thing, people used to notice you and all of that because of probably your abilities and all of that. And then suddenly you find yourself in an environment where people actually have their shit together. Like people have their stuff together. They're doing well, they're doing fine and all of that. And then you do like nobody's really paying heed to you and all of that. And so you feel so small, you feel so irrelevant, you feel like you just feel like you're not good enough and all of that because everyone around you seem good. That could be one of the reasons why you're having imposter syndrome. And then when you even have one of the reasons could be that you constantly have a fear of failure, or you have a fear of success. That if I'm successful today, you might be afraid that would I be able to keep it up? Won't I become poor one day? Blah 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 blah. All of these things could be reasons why imposter syndrome happens. Now, of course, I want to move on over to the solution. It is going to be useless if you talk and talk and talk. If we talk and talk and talk about problems and we actually do not prefer solution. So if, for instance, you've noticed that you have imposter syndrome, one of the things that you want to do is to start telling yourself the truth. Yes. If you, for instance, you made an achievement, or you probably got something good or something great and all of that, and your mind starts to tell you that it's a lie, it's just you got it as a result of luck, blah blah blah, you want to immediately acknowledge that, okay, this is imposter syndrome talking. You want to start to say, okay, this thing that I got, I actually worked for it. Like you want to actively say to yourself, no, this was not luck. I worked for this. I woke up all night studying and I was able to achieve this. I spent time probably even praying. That was why I was able to achieve this. I put in the work. That is why I achieved this. So you want to actually state the facts to show that I did not get this by luck. I actually worked for this. That is one of the ways that you want to overcome imposter syndrome. And then another way is for you to stop waiting until you feel confident before you do things. Yes, when it's time for you to actually make a move or to do something, you might be feeling like you are not confident enough, you are not good enough, you are not smart enough for that thing, blah blah blah. What you want to do is do it anyway. Yes, the way to overcome not being confident is by being confident. So whether you feel like as if you are not confident or not, go ahead and do that thing, and that way you would overcome. And then another thing is that you want to normalize being someone that can actually learn. So let's say, for instance, you find yourself in an environment where you are not really as smart as people used to see you as, or as loved or as noticed as you used to be from where you are coming, and you find yourself in such a space. You want to acknowledge that it is okay for me to not know everything. It's okay for me to be here and learn from others. It's okay for me to be in an environment where everybody is actually doing well for themselves and all of that. And then you still want to be in that environment and, of course, allow yourself to grow rather than feeling incompetent or feeling small and all of that. And then another thing you want to do is actually talk about it. Yes, talk about it. When you stay silent, that imposter syndrome can actually eat you up, to the extent that you would no longer be relevant to yourself, you will no longer be relevant to society. Decisions that you're meant to take, steps you're meant to take, you wouldn't take them anymore. So one of the things you want to do is you want to talk about it. You can start a conversation and be like, I really feel like as if I don't belong in this place. And you see that someone else would act like can actually relate to what you're saying. That the people that you feel like they have all their shit together, like you feel people that you feel like they're doing great for themselves and all of that, you will hear them also telling you that they also feel the same way. That way you know that, okay, it's normal. People actually do feel like this, but then they still do the things that they do anyway. So it's very wrong for you to see someone and say, oh, this person is perfect, this person's life is going beautifully, oh, this person looks so confident. There are people who look so confident on the outside, but inside they are so weak. So it is very wrong for you to judge the outcomes of your life, the physical realities you see, with the realities, like with the physical outcomes you are seeing in other people's lives. There are people that look confident, there are people that look perfect in quotes, but if you check their back end, like if you see them behind the scene, they are very weak, they are very fidgety, they are very decent, that you'll be so surprised that this person that looks so high in mindset, that looks so perfect, that looks so decent, that is not actually as perfect as they look. So you want to give yourself grace from time to time, knowing that you are just a human being, and whatever feeling it is you're feeling, a lot of other people also feel that way. So you don't want to nail yourself to a cross and actually kill yourself because you feel like you are not good enough and all of that. And then so you want to talk about it, you want to have these conversations with people, and then you realize that you are actually not alone. And then lastly, you want to redefine for yourself what it means to be competent. Yes, being competent does not necessarily mean that you have to know everything. Competence is not that you are perfect or 100% or you know every single thing that would make people to be impressed by you and all of that. Redefine it. Competence could actually mean that you are open to learning. Confidence could actually mean that you are open to, like, you are someone who knows how to adapt, someone who is open to improving and all of that. You should redefine competence, and that way you would be able to overcome this thing that is called imposter syndrome. So if I'm going to round off this conversation this evening, one thing that I would like to let you know is that having this imposter syndrome doesn't mean that you are not qualified. It doesn't mean that you are not good enough. It doesn't mean that you don't belong in those rooms. It doesn't mean that those opportunities you got were just as a result of luck. It just means that you are getting into something that is bigger than your comfort zone, and growth in life always feels like that. And so the next time that all of these voices begin to come in your head saying that you don't belong here, you are a fraud, this thing that you got is fake, you are going to lose it, blah 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 blah, you want to actually shut it out and then tell yourself that I belong here, I worked for this, this is me, this is my reality, I am worthy, I am hardworking, I deserve every good thing that I am getting. I am not getting whatever it is I'm getting because or I am a fraud, or because I am not competent, or because I just got it through luck, and all of those voices. So you want to actually stand up for yourself and actually speak against it. It's actually normal. A lot of people experience this, and so allow yourself to be a human being. Allow yourself to experience or have these emotions, but then do not ever let these emotions, do not ever let an imposter syndrome, do not ever let it define you. So what is that thing that is actually before you now? What is that decision that you want to make? What is that thing that you want to do, that you're feeling afraid, you feel like you're not good enough and all of that? The way to overcome that thing is to still go ahead and do that thing. Still go ahead and achieve that thing. Still go ahead and make that move, and you'll see yourself victorious. And so if you enjoyed this conversation today as much as I did, I would like you to, of course, give this podcast a like. It helps to get this conversation to more people out there. And so if you have questions or you need help, my number and email is always in the description. And if you would like to collaborate with About the Voice, the number and my email is always in the description. Until I come your way again, my name is Omomi. This podcast is brought to you by About the Voice, and we say that you are number one. Bye bye.